you join me in a moment of prayer together? O God, the one who has brought down the mighty from their thrones and who has exalted those of low degree, the one who has filled the hungry with good things and has sent the rich empty away, you have called men and women to faithfulness, justice, and love throughout all of the generations. You called a Moses to lead a migrant people out of slavery and oppression into a new land of opportunity. You called a woman named Ruth to migrate from Moab to Israel and work the fields, and then you empowered her to become a courageous citizen of her new land. God, in the past, it has been your power and your love which has given farm workers and other oppressed people the courage, the backbone, and the faith to claim a dignified and equitable life and work for themselves and their children. So God, speak to us and speak through us this evening. In the present, may the words, the vision, and the truth of your prophet Shirley Chisholm break new ground in our hearing and in our doing of justice for all peoples. May the speech and action of your servant Stan Lundeen provide a way of hope through the wilderness of our times, a way of hope for the men, women, and children who have worked so hard and sacrificed in order to bring food to our tables this day and every day. Oh God, in your wisdom and grace, you have raised the women and men of rural opportunities to advance the cause of farm workers, to work for their well-being, to offer hope and possibilities for a better and a just future. Bless and encourage Stuart Mitchell as he leads and serves in this noble effort. And now, as we are about to feast together, may we ask a blessing upon the workers who have planted, harvested, and prepared this food for our meal. May they increasingly reap the fruits of their labors, and may we all work toward that same goal and purpose. In your holy name and purpose we pray. Amen.
Enjoy your meal.
One day, Stuart and I were coming back from I don't know where, and the plane hit an air pocket and dropped. His head didn't take much for his to hit the ceiling, and I must have gone this high up off my seat. And we turned around and we looked at each other and we just burst out laughing. I mean, what else could you do? You know, either you laugh or you cry. So we sat there laughing, going, oh,
Thank you, Lee. Lee can say that because we don't fund it. Well, when I was asked to share in this celebration of Stuart Mitchell's illustrious career, I began to think back. And I can't really pinpoint the exact time that we met. I know how we met because he and I have been appointed to serve on the old State Manpower Services Council, which used to meet on a pretty regular basis in Albany. And I was representing the Urban League in that sector, and not-for-profit. And Stuart was representing the farm worker, the client sector. And of course, he's a pretty hard fellow to ignore, given his size. And it turned out that we would go to those meetings, and we sort of struck up a friendship. In fact, some of my best friendships I can't really, as I think about them, I can't ever really think back to a specific defining moment. They kind of mature and they kind of grow. But over these, at least last 20 years, I've been very privileged to have Stuart's friendship and his support and his counsel. And we share a lot of ideas, and we talk, and we share good times, and we share sad times, but certainly throughout all of that time, this relationship has really strengthened. A couple weeks ago, I happened to be down at his rural estate down in Ontario County.
Oh, no. Yates,
And,
Yates County?
Yates County. I'm sorry.
Go, Mitch.
I'm sorry. And I saw then, and this is a man who I could see where his beginning is. I met his mother and father and his family, and he really, I mean, he is a person who's not ashamed of his roots, because they are part of him. They're part of his spirit and his blood. And so I don't see any problem with Stuart continuing a love of rural life and a love of those whose occupation and whose life spent in a rural setting. That he has become an advocate for rural America, to me, it just seemed to be a natural transition. So I just want to, I'm not going to get into any, I don't want to talk about particular moments that we shared. I think that I treasure those, but I just wanted to join all of his friends who are here tonight to say that I think it's wonderful that we could stand here and salute a man for 30 years of service as young as Stuart. That we could salute a person who's given 30 years as vigorous and as energetic as Stuart. Because see, this is not any testimonial. We're not ready to put him out to pasture. Although it kind of reads that way if you read some material. I was trying to figure, does Stuart have a message for us? Is he about to make a change? This is not about that. This is really saying to a man who really is very modest. I mean, despite his size, I mean, I think that if this were not benefiting rural opportunities, I don't think Stuart would even be here for us to do this, because this is certainly not about heaping accolades on him. He never sought that, and I think it makes him uncomfortable. But I certainly think for us to give testimonial to the work that he has done. I am sure this man could have had many other kinds of jobs, paying him a lot more money and giving him more visibility. And the fact that he has stuck with this organization, Rural Opportunities, through all of his transitions, for all of these years, I think is an extraordinary testimony to the man that we're here to honor tonight. So in honoring him, I think we have to honor his roots, and I'm delighted that his mother and father are here. His family, his brothers, all of his family, and extended family are here to see that the affection that we have for him, there's nothing official about it. This had nothing to do with us honoring a colleague. He is our colleague, but that's the second most important thing about it. The first is that he's our friend. So thank you, Stuart, for keeping having the opportunity.
Thanks very much, Mayor.
I want to just hug him if I can.
I also did want to take a moment to introduce Stuart's family. To my right, to your left, Stuart Mitchell Sr. and his wife, Helena Mitchell. Also, his brother, Dale, and his Dale's son, Joe. Stuart's other brother, Paul and Joan. Where's Joan? There's Joan. And Paul's in-laws, Marge and Bill Fuller. Where are they? Oh, there.
Stuart's in-laws.
And also, that's what I said.
No.
And, of course, last but not least, Anna Mitchell,
Oh.
George's daughter, and her friend George. George, is he here? George back there. Okay. All right.
The torture man is the first thing to go. Not for Stuart, though. We want to take this time now to have Evelyn Harris come up. Evelyn is the executive director for New York State Department of State Community Services Black Grant. And Evelyn's been around since I've been around, 2-3 years, that kind of thing. And I'm sure she has a lot of great things to say about Stuart since her history is probably as long as Velma's.
The other Velma.
Good evening, everyone. It's a sincere pleasure to be here. I feel honored to follow the mayor, and a lot of the things that he had said about Stuart, I will also echo. It really is a privilege and a pleasure to be here and to see his parents. Stuart Mitchell, a friend, a supporter, a leader, an advisor, and he's been so much more to all of us, helping people to help themselves. My first years with Stuart, we struggled to maintain the right of his organization to share in the Community Services Block Grant Program and to be a member of the Community Services Network. We had many conversations, many struggles with the network to make sure that there was a place within this program for his organization. His persistence, strong leadership, always being objective, caring but forceful, served as the impetus when the Department of State created the Community Services Block Grant Advisory Council, that we recommended Stuart to be the first chair of that council. Now you must understand, in New York State, with a program like the Community Services Block Grant, which by all appearance appears to be the program that belongs to the community action agencies and only to community action agencies, it was very difficult for them to accept what they considered at that time an outsider to serve as a chair for that block grant. But we knew that Stuart would bring to that Block Grant Advisory Council objectivity, caring, and professionalism. And he did that with us for a number of years, help us to shape the administration of the program in New York State, so that at this point, after 17 years of operating that program, it's a national model recognized across the country for the leadership that this block grant has and for the partnership that we have established among our agencies, and then that's all due to Stuart's leadership. Stuart and I have a very special relationship. As I said today in our session, he gives me so much love. He's been there for me in a number of times when I've gone through my own personal struggles. He seemed to know exactly when to call and say, how are you doing? He was there when my parents died, when my daughter attempted suicide. All of those things I went through, he was there for me. We who work with Stuart at a national level know about his family as personally as you who work with him here in Rochester. Part of our meeting was always asking Stuart, how's the family? And we got to know his mother, his father, his brother, Heidi. And when Anna was first brought into the family, I have her picture hanging on my bulletin board. And that's how caring Stuart is. He shared not only himself with all of us, but his family. And so the mayor is correct when he said that the extended family, Stuart has been an inspiration to me personally and professionally. And that's why I'm so glad that I got the invitation to be here, to recognize him. I also must congratulate Rural Opportunities, because it's not very often that organizations take time to recognize people while they're still working. It's just the way it is with families and friends. We wait too long sometimes. So I must also congratulate all of you, especially Velma, for putting this together. And Stuart, she's taking bows. And Stuart, I must say that it's been a pleasure knowing you, and I look forward to many, many more years of working with you.
Next, I'd like to invite Tom Fink, who has been our corporate attorney, one of our corporate attorneys, ever since, I think, the very beginning, right, Tom? 1947?
We got to know Adam and Eve quite well.
1947.
Velma asked me if, since I've known Stu so long and worked with him intimately for 28 years, that I must have some very interesting things to say about him. Something must have come to my mind. I thought about it. Couldn't think of anything, actually. So Lee was good enough to say, well, we got you on the program anyhow, so you got to do something. So we got a letter that we got that you could read. So I'm going to read the letter. Dear Stu, I was honored to be asked to say a few words during this special tribute to you. I would have loved to have been there if I did not have a very important conflict with my nap time. As they say, first things first. Hopefully, if they do this for you again, they will have it earlier in the day. By that time, that probably will also be my nap time. I was told that speakers were supposed to try and think of all the funniest things about you, and you know how I tend to shy away from making fun of someone, even though in your case, the things would probably all be true. Unfortunately, Stu, for the roast and for this tribute, the truth must come out. And I feel much more comfortable saying this to you in a letter than actually being there. The fact is, Stu, that I am totally in awe of you. I am in awe of your selfless dedication to rural opportunities. I am totally in awe of your faith, which permits you to take on the worst of life's trials and to persevere in a way that is an inspiration to all of us. I'm in awe of your ability to articulate the needs of the poor in a manner that inspires those around you to continue to work during the most frustrating of times. I am inspired by you and the work that you have done in the early days of PFI to make Rural Opportunities one of the major human service organizations in the country. You inspire each of us to try and do better ourselves and not to give up in the constant struggle that we face. For one who was on the front line at one time and is now more on the back burner, helping you at times makes my life worthwhile. If I were with you, I would come over and give you a big kiss. As it is, since I am probably deep in sleep at this time, I am asking the drone who I've asked to read this letter to give you a big hug. Fondly, a friend.
All the folks who have been up here speaking about Stuart have certainly known him for a good many years, but nobody has known Stuart longer than the members of his family. And I'd like to ask if Midge or Helena or anybody would like to come up, and I'd be happy to extend this as far as I can out of here.
I voted Helena to do it.
Okay.
Stay close by, Lee.
I'll start right by. Just right back.
I don't know. This afternoon, I thought it was going to be fun.
Having three professional sons is not easy to say how proud I am of one without thinking of the others. Stuart's grandparents had a farm just above us, so he learned early in life that farming was hard work and one had to be dedicated to his work if we were to succeed. I remember one day when he was a Boy Scout, the troop had planned an overnight hike, and Stuart decided he wasn't going to go. And we finally asked him why, and he says, well, Grandpa's got a lot of stones to pick up today before he can plant that field. And I think that's more important than going on a hike. So he stayed home. His dad has been in business, been a businessman, and I feel he earned the honesty from him. While attending Cornell, he became interested in the plight of farm workers, their need for help, and from that time to this present, his compassion is to improve farm workers' rights to a better life. He believes with all his heart in the work he is doing to make life better for others. With the love and faith we have as a family, we have learned how to share with each other the problems that families go through. I feel that dedication, compassion, honesty, faith, and love are Stuart's qualities for his life. And just one more thing. I would like to thank the staff and all his friends for their dedication these many years. One never grows without dedication from those you work with. Stuart, we are very, very proud of you.
And that's my supervisor. And what I want to do now is have state directors come up and division directors who are now senior vice presidents, Mary. Because we want to actually give you to Stuart. And this is based on collections from staff from all the states and for all the people who have been in the audience. You've been seeing us collect money all day, right? Well, we twisted everybody's arm and we've come up with something to give you to remember this event. Because remember I told you the mind is the first thing that goes, right? Okay. So don't be standing over there and leave me over here all by myself.
You said plural.
Wayne. And Michael is out of town in Washington right now, so she would have been here. Kevin. Kevin. And Jeff would have been here, but he's in Puerto Rico. I think I could have traded places with Jeff too. Well, come on up here, young man.
I asked him to put my chair in.
I don't know, Joe.
And young lady. Mr. Mitchell. We got all the cards too from all of us that could scribble. And people wrote special messages. We want to give you this to remember this occasion. And we hope you put it someplace where you will always see it and remember. Well, don't stop yet. Kay also has another gift for you that's from Pennsylvania operations. They have more money than New York.
No, it's no casket. Well, before I start, and I'll make this quick, is this the part, the time film
moment when we get to say what we really feel? This is it?
That was yesterday.
Oh, okay, I missed it. I just want to say that staff do recognize that we have a good supervisor. And we're not forced. How many CEOs that you know throughout the United States are still with the same company for 20 years, 25 years, and 30 years, and the company's still growing? He's active. And we're up here because we care. But I want to mention very quickly his patience. He's too patient sometimes. I remember when Stuart decided it was time during our strategic planning to redo the mission statement and the principles of employment. And I think it took 2, 3, 4, no, I'm exaggerating, but it took a lot of years. But it was great in how he did it. I didn't say that during the time, but he showed a lot of patience with all of us. It was board members and staff of all levels. But anyways, we wanted Stuart to be the first to post in his office the principles of employment and the mission statement. We also have copies for every office to hang in the reception area throughout the total organization. We have the copies here. And if you would also purchase a black frame to go along with them. And every office you go into that's part of our opportunities will have a mission statement and the principles of employment. This is also on behalf of the training staff and TAC members.
Before we ask Stuart if he has any comments, can't believe that he wouldn't. I've been reminded to remind you that on this table there is a scrapbook, and feel free during the course of the evening, during dinner, because we're going to eat here, to just come up and scribble something in that book if you'd like to express your thoughts to Stuart. It's right there on this table. It's a scrapbook. Just find a blank space and go for it. Karen, where are you? Why don't you come up, Karen? We failed to say this, but it's written in your book, in your pamphlets, that Karen Hansen and Mayor Johnson were really the co-hosts of this particular event. So before Stuart comes up and comments, we'd like to ask Karen to come up and say a few words. Karen Hansen. And by the way, Karen's the former executive director of Rural Opportunities, actually Program Funding Incorporated.
See, I'm even prepared, Stuart. Actually, this is a very special time, and I just want to ask a couple of questions. I want you all to answer me when I ask these questions. What did Sister Rosario, Gloria Matera, Dick Bowe, Jack Slattery, Dale Worth, Doug Sinclair, various farmers in Steuben and Wayne counties, the Farm Bureau, the apple and cherry growers all have in common?
They hated Stuart.
No.
They hated him.
Well, so the answer is a respect for Stuart Mitchell. Because they knew he was going to keep his promises. Now, one of the Yates County residents where Stuart was raised, the folks at Colgate Rochester Divinity School and Cornell, Department of Labor, and the former OEO have in common. The answer is a respect for Stuart Mitchell. Because I knew he'd keep his promises, and he did. All right?